Thank you for joining me in this series, How to Overcome Fear. If you were taunted by a giant over 9 feet tall, would you feel afraid? Well, in 1 Samuel chapter 17, we read the story of how the Philistines sent a giant named Goliath to fight against the Israelites. And day after day, this huge giant threatened God's people. In verse 11 it says, when Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Verse 24 adds that all of the men of Israel, when they saw the man, they fled from him, and they were dreadfully afraid. At this point, you may want to assess your own life to determine whether there are any figurative giants that you've been afraid of. Perhaps you've been running away from God's calling because of some enemy who taunts and stands in your way. The Bible says that Jesse had sent his older sons to the battle lines, and they were among the Israelites who were terrified of facing Goliath. But one day, David, the youngest in the family, he went out to visit his brothers, and his perspective on the giant was totally different from theirs. In verse 32, David told King Saul, "Let no man's heart fail because of the giant. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine." Ask yourself, how could this young man find courage to face Goliath? His older brothers and the rest of the Israelites were quaking with fear. But David explained to Saul that he had learned to trust God while defending his father's sheep against lions and bears. And he reasoned that the same God who gave him victory over lions and bears would also be faithful to give him victory over the defeat of the giant Goliath. As you would expect, when this young man approached the mighty Philistine, he was confronted with the same kinds of taunts that the giant had been issuing for weeks. But while the rest of the Israelites had been intimidated by Goliath's threats, David declared his faith in God's power to give him the victory. In verse 45 through 47, David makes this powerful statement to the Philistine warrior. "You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day, I love this day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you, I will take your head from you, and then all this assembly will know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands." Wow! Wow! Friend, I don't know what kind of battles or giants you're facing today, but you can take courage that the battle is the Lord's. When you put your trust in God, when you follow his instructions, there's no giant, no enemy, no problem, no demon from hell that can stand against you. With just a slingshot and a few stones, David fearlessly defeated Goliath. His secret? Very simple. He trusted in the bigness of his God instead of the bigness of his problems. Instead of being afraid today, I encourage you, follow David's example. Put your eyes on the Lord instead of on your problems. He will give you the victory. God bless you.